Welcome everybody to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton. I want to thank Dr. Michael Fine for being on earlier. As he noted, with the new numbers in the state of Rhode Island, there is a slight upward tick. It was one of the highest number of new cases since May here in Rhode Island. So leads us into Kevin Folan, the head of school at Providence Country Day. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
Josh, thanks so much for having me again. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're in the hot spot, probably one of the most difficult jobs of anybody outside of maybe first responders and healthcare workers. You're running a school in Rhode Island and very difficult choices. Let's talk about what the status is right now. What's the goal of Providence Country Day coming into the fall?
Sure. I mean, the number one goal, and it's always been our goal, is to make sure that the health and safety of all of our constituents, students, all of our employees, and even the parents, that is really our North Star, and that is guiding all of our decisions.
What's your game plan right now? We're in the end of July. We've got about a month or a little more before classes resume at schools across the state, and including at Providence Country Day. What's the game plan right now for Providence Country Day?
Well, and I'm glad that you're putting in that caveat of right now, because the truth is, like you, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know where things are going to be on July 29th, let alone August 28th. Things continue to change and evolve so rapidly that we know the plan that we have right now. It's dynamic. It's not static. So right now, if school were supposed to open up tomorrow, we would be fully in person, also recognizing that some of our students and families do not feel comfortable having their child come back to campus. So we are making sure that we have that hybrid model available so that students are able to attend classes virtually from the comfort of their own home over the Zoom platform.
I'm helping run an internship program with 7 men's basketball players from Brown University. They're all up, none of them are first years, they're all sophomores and upward. They're scheduled to come back in September. They quarantine for 14 days. Not one of them has a class in a classroom with a professor. How does that differ at Providence Country Day?
Well, I think we're fortunate in many ways that we're a heck of a lot smaller than most of our peers. And so even though we are doing our very best to make sure that we are following all guidelines and protocols, the fact that we have 215 students, 50 employees, we've got 33 acres of campus, including 94,000 square feet of indoor space, that really gives us the flexibility and ability to make sure that we can still have our classes, but still providing that social and physical distancing to accommodate for safety.
With 33 acres, you can just have 4 students per acre. That should answer everybody's questions. Maybe some
That's right.
tents.
We'll all have megaphones. We'll just be shouting at each other. But I am glad you said that. I mean, we're also making sure that our outdoor space is going to be able to have some of our classrooms. I think being outside where transmission of the virus happens at a much, much lower rate, I see that as a real competitive advantage for PCD right now. Now,
Yeah,
our tech director, Justin King, is making sure that we've got the Wi-Fi capability to make sure that even when we're outside, we still have the tech capability to stay in touch with our students who are off-site.
the old cliche, argue for your limitations and they are yours. This creates a tremendous opportunity to kind of change learning and create whole new curriculums about being outside and engaging the environment into almost everything you do, certainly into, maybe even into early November, to be able to take, in a strange way, take advantage of the opportunity.
Absolutely. I think what we've all seen over these last several months is, even though COVID-19 has really been very difficult in many respects, I think it's also made us, think outside the box, to be creative, to be innovative in the way that we serve our students. And by having our classes outside, I think we've always seen, our science classrooms, that there's a natural ability to take our classes outside. We can do the same thing with math. We can do the same thing with our humanities now. So I think a lot of our teachers are very excited about what our classrooms are going to look like outside.
Dr. Michael Fine the other week raised the concerns about faculty members, especially those 50, 60 years of age and older in a classroom while this virus is taking place. How are you working hard to protect your faculty?
Sure. Again, the health and safety of all of our constituents is our number one priority. I will say kind of one of the, I don't want to say casualties, but one of the difficulties with COVID is that some of our most veteran teachers have retired. And I think they were going to retire within maybe 3 to 5 years, but because of coronavirus, that time frame was accelerated. And so helping them finish up their careers honorably has been really, really important. We still need to figure out how do we properly honor and celebrate their commitment to PCD. But that said, we've also got the teachers who are coming back this fall and making sure that all of their accommodations are met, making sure that we're giving them face shields, making sure that we are trying to limit crossover with divisions as much as possible to make sure that they're feeling confident and safe coming back to the campus.
And Kevin, the reality is you could do absolutely everything right. It's a virus. I mean, there's going to be some level of risk. The good news is for most children in most settings, the disease does not have a significant impact to their health, and they'll move through it accordingly. We talk so much about the negative and complexities of the transition in dealing with this virus. Talk about maybe what are some of the benefits? What are the things you've learned and the community at Providence Country Day has learned that might actually be a positive takeaway for this?
Sure. I think one of the things that I said last month was just we're always passionate about bringing guest speakers, especially our alumni, back to campus. And I think to a large degree, pre-COVID, we were really limited to who's in our own backyard, who's within maybe an hour's drive of the campus. And now, just like what you and I are doing right now, a lot of these conversations now can take place over a virtual platform where geography really just doesn't matter all that much, or certainly not as much. So I think the ability to introduce our students to different people in different parts of the country, even different parts of the world, has really expanded different topics that we can introduce to our students. So I think that's been wonderful. And again, I think it's also just allowed our teachers the ability to experiment and tinker and to just try new things.
This is not meant as an admonishment to public school teachers in any way, because so many of them are passionate about their students. But the one thing that does separate schools like Providence Country Day is the almost 24/7 commitment of the faculty there at PCD. Talk a little bit about, to some degree, how that allows you to give more support after hours, kind of on the weekends, to students and their families who are stressed and strained during this period of time.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that we certainly observed this past spring with distance learning was that teachers were actually working a lot more than they had previously, which sounded a little bit counterintuitive. But, like you alluded to, so much of the teaching, so much of the homework questions were happening outside of normal school hours. And so I think a big part of our value proposition of our offerings is that we are willing to help your child outside of that typical 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. schedule, whether it's over email, jumping on a phone, or Zoom, Skype. I think being able to serve our students throughout the day, even on weekends, I think really is an asset for PCD, and I think a true testament of how committed our teachers are to making sure their students are being served adequately.
I was lucky enough to be a scholarship prep school student, but I still cursed those nights. And I was a boarder, so it was 6 nights in study hall a week, not 5, 6 nights a week. The homework is significant at PCD.
It is. I mean, we try to find that sweet spot where we challenge the students, but we also don't overburden them, particularly since we really ask all of our students to engage across the curriculum. And I know as a fellow parent, when my child comes home from school, I actually want to spend time with them. And so we want to make sure that when children go home, of course, they need to do homework, to practice what they've learned in school, but that they're not staying up until all hours of the night completing work. We talk about the quality of homework, not just the quantity of homework.
We had Emmett Schwartz on a few weeks ago, who's helping run the summer camp,
Great.
and he was a bundle of positive energy. Give us a little update on how the summer camps have gone.
Sure. So we are entering our last week. So this is week 5 of our summer camp. And just from a health and wellness standpoint, we have done an outstanding job. Met and his team, Lisa May Costa, our nurse, who's our nurse during the school year, they've just done an outstanding job. The kids have had a wonderful time. I think these last couple of days during this heat wave we've been enjoying, it's been a little bit tricky. It's been sweaty. Making sure the kids are staying in the shade, getting plenty of time in the water. But I would say that our summer camp has been outstanding. And it's also really provided us with the opportunity to see firsthand, as we get ready to reopen the campus for the fall, what doesn't work, and more importantly, what is working, and what do we want to make sure we replicate come September.
Kevin, you get the last word. What should parents be thinking about, whether they're within the PCD community or at any school across the region? What should they be thinking about as we move closer and closer, now about 5 weeks away, to the new school year?
I say this both to the parents and also for myself. Let's all just take a collective deep breath. I think there is just so much stress and anxiety that I think is fueling this hysteria about what is going to happen a month from now. And again, the answer right now is